Welcome back, dear students. This is 7th Standard Science, chapter number 17 and activity 17.2. Visit a forest or a park in your neighborhood. Observe the trees and try to identify them. You can take the help of some elders or books on trees. List the characteristics of the trees that you observe, such as the height, shape of leaves, crown, flowers, and fruits. Also, draw the crowns of some trees. So this is just an observation, students. You can observe any plant and that or tree, its height, its shape, their shape of leaves, crown, flowers and fruits, stem, okay, their branches, okay, its trunk, color of the trees, color of the leaves, means different things are coming which are not here. That also you can observe, and you can draw the crowns of some trees. You can draw trees also, shapes of different trees, okay. And these are just your observation, and you can write these observation if you are doing this activity. So Professor Ahmed pointed out that trees had crowns of different types and sizes. These had created different horizontal layers in the forest. So these are known as understories. Okay, so that is called a substantial part of the trees. What is called a substantial part of the trees? Because in that professor told that the trees had different crowns of different types and sizes. So these had created different horizontal layers in the forest, and these are called as the understories. Means this is a substantial part of the trees. Giant and tall trees constituted the top layer, followed by shrubs, and tall grasses and herbs formed the lowest layer. Giant and tall, not only the tall but giant. So trees constituted the top layer, followed by shrubs. Shrubs and herbs, difference is there, okay. So read it neatly and keep in mind, giant and tall trees constituted the top layer, followed by shrubs, and tall grasses and herbs form the lowest layer, okay. Lowest layer form through the tall grasses and herbs. So would we see similar kind of trees in every forest? Asked Bujo. Actually, no. Why? Because Professor Ahmed said no. Due to different climatic conditions. Why the same similarities is not there in the trees? Because the reason is climatic conditions. There are variations in the type of trees and other plants. The type of animals also differ from forest to forest. Just you can take example of for desert, okay. So the climatic conditions which is there in the desert, according to that, the plants and animals are different. Those who can easily survive in this kind of climatic conditions, only they can available easily. But here means everywhere the different types of animals and plants, it you can see because this is depend on the climatic conditions, okay. Now a few children were busy watching beautiful butterflies fluttering here and there on the flowers of shrubs and herbs. They had a close look at the bushes. While doing that, their hair and clothes had seeds and shrubs clinging to them. Okay, so few children were very busy with watching these beautiful butterflies fluttering here and there on the flowers of shrubs and herbs. So they had a close look. Children had they had a close look at the bushes. They had a close look at the bushes. While doing that, their hairs and the clothes that had seeds and shrubs, these are clinging to them, okay, sticking to them. So they came across numerous insects, spiders, squirrels, ants, and various other small animals on the bark of the trees. They came across with whom they came across they came across numerous insects, spiders, squirrels, ants, and various other small animals on the bark of the trees, plant leaves, and on decaying leaves on the forest floor. Plants leaves and on decaying leaves on the forest floor. So they started making sketches of these creatures, these different kinds of creatures they have seen, and they have started making its sketches. The forest floor seemed dark colored and was covered with a layer of dead and decaying leaves, fruits, seeds, twigs, and small herbs. The decaying matter was moist and warm. Here, they started making the sketches of these creatures, and still the forest floor. We know that in the forest maximum miss many trees are there, so the forest floor, how it is seem dark color, and it is actually it is covered with a layer of dead and decaying leaves. Not only the leaves, but fruits are also there, seeds are also there, twigs, this is the part of the plants, twigs are also there, and small herbs are also there. The decaying matter was moist and warm. Okay, you know student, decaying matter, okay, after spoil it is getting decaying. Okay, that will be means not only just leaves, miss leaves also, fruits also, twigs also, herbs also, and after that we can say dung and the waste of the animals also, these are also the part of the decaying after death of any animal, that is after some days, that will be also decaying matter. Okay, so the children picked up various seeds and leaves for their collection. Actually they are in the forest for the taking extra knowledge, so children picked up various seeds. This is just like a project that they are observing, and they are getting different kind of information from the forest. So this is like a part of their job, like a part of their activity or practical. So children picked up various seeds and leaves for their collection. Walking over the dead leaf layer Walking over the dead leaf layer on the forest floor was like walking over a spongy carpet, because on the floor there is full with decaying matter, miss dead and decaying leaves, fruits, seeds, layer of dead and decaying leaves, fruits, seeds. It was there on the forest floor. So they were walking on this and feeling like a spongy carpet. So is the decaying matter always warm? See, it is always warm. Yes, actually, for the decaying, how can we do this? So it is given in the activity 17.3. So Professor Ahmed suggested that the children could perform an activity to get an answer to this question. Which question? Is the decaying matter always warm? Now see its answer. Activity 17.3. Dig a small pit. Put vegetable, waste and leaves in it. Cover them with soil and add some water. See, first cover them with soil, and after that you have to add some water. After 3 days, remove upper layer of the soil. After 3 days, remove upper layer of the soil. Does the pit feel warm inside? Yes, its answer is yes. Paheli asked, there are so many trees here. Also, there are many forests like this. So, what difference will it make if we cut some of trees for a factory? क्या फ़र्क पड़ जाता है, इतने सारे ट्रीज़ है यहाँ पे, many trees are there, many forests are there. If what the difference will it make if we cut some of the trees for a factory or for our job or for our requirement, not only for the factory but for our requirement also, you can say. So Professor Ahmed said, you have read about autotrophs, heterotrophs and saprotrophs. Autotrophs, we have seen that those who are making food for themselves. Heterotrophs, those who are depend on the other, and saprotrophs means those who are depend for food on the dead matter. So you have learnt how green plants produce food. All animals, whether herbivores or carnivores, depend ultimately on plants for food. About herbivores and carnivores, we know from 4th standard only. So those who are eating depend on the herbs, trees, they are herbivores. Carnivores means those who are depend on dead animals. Okay, so depend ultimately on plants for food. So organisms which feed on plants often get eaten by other organisms, and so on. Means this is just like a cycle. Okay, so for example, grass is eaten by insects, which in turn is taken by the frog. The frog is consumed by snakes. So this is said to form a food chain. You know different kinds of food. Miss rat is eating cat is eating dog, like that. Sisters, grass is eating insects is eating frog, and after frog is eating snakes, and snake directly through the eagle. So many food chains can be found in the forest. All food chains are linked. If any one food chain is disturbed, it affects other food chain. every part of the forest is dependent on the other parts. If we remove one component, see trees, all other components would be affected. So trees means, for example, from the grass. If grass is not there, so what insects will eat? And if insects are not there, so frog, we know that frog are also eating any other thing, not only the insects, but they will not get insects. And if frogs are not there, so how can snake get this? Okay, so all this chain, this is the food chain, and all food chains are linked. So if we remove one component, so all other components would be affected. So Professor Ahmed asked children to pick up leaves from the forest floor and observe them under a hand lens. They found tiny mushrooms. They found tiny mushrooms over the decaying leaves. They also saw an army of tiny insects. Army of tiny insects. Why they called army? Because they are in the group. Millipedes, ants and beetle on them. Means these are the kinds of insects, and these are on the decaying leaves. They were wondering how these organisms live there. Professor Ahmed explained that apart from these animals which are easily seen, there are several organisms and microorganisms that live in the soil. Paheli wondered what mushrooms and other microorganisms eat. What are they eating? So Professor Ahmed replied that these microorganisms in soil feed upon the dead plant and animal tissues and convert them into a dark colored substance called humus. Have you seen humus? This is like a fungus. Yes or no? Actually, Professor Ahmed replied that microorganisms in soil feed upon the dead plant and animals' tissues and convert them into a dark colored substance called humus. Okay, so you have learnt about humus in chapter 9 already. So in which layer of the soil would you find the humus? Students, topsoil only. That is a horizon. You have seen that. There you can find humus. So what is its importance to the soil? Actually, the importance to the soil is it increases the fertility of the soil, and it is giving the nutrients to the soil. Now, the microorganisms which convert the dead plants and animals to humus are known as decomposers. What are they called? The microorganisms which convert the dead plants and animals to humus are known as decomposers. So these microorganisms play an important role in the forest. These microorganisms means the decomposers are playing the important role in the forest. Soon Paheli removed some dead leaves and discovered under them a layer of humus on forest floor. The presence of humus ensures that the nutrients of the dead plants and animals are released into the soil. Actually, this is increasing the fertility of the soil because it is giving the nutrients of the dead plants and animals are released into the nutrients. Soil is getting the nutrients from the dead plants and animals. So from there, these nutrients are again absorbed by the roots of the living plants. These nutrients which the soil is getting, these nutrients are again absorbed by the roots, because we know the trees, roots are holding the soil with the plant also. So roots of living things, it is also getting the nutrients. So what happens if an animal dies in the forest? See, Shaila asked. Tibu replied, the dead animals become food for vulture. We know that these are some scavengers are there. So dead animals become food for vultures, crows, jackals and insects. These are the scavengers because they are depend for food. They are depend on the dead animal. So in this way the nutrients are cycled. So nothing goes waste in the forest. That is the very important statement. Nothing goes waste in a forest because this is just a cycle. Okay, all are depend on each other. So Paheli reminded Professor Ahmed that he had not explained why forests are called green lungs. In first video only I told you students. So what is called green lungs? So the green lungs I will explain in next video. Thank you.